More obvious than a cactus in Brewers spring training. This is 87 Live on 87 Sports Fans Radio. I am one of your illustrious hosts, Keith Grieve.
And I am the man on the other side of the mic, Steve Taylor. Hello, man.
That's right. Did you hear about that story? About K-Rod stepping on a cactus?
No.
Yeah, he's going to miss a game, at least a game, because he literally stepped on a cactus.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. My only reaction
and that's the frustrating thing about baseball players. They have the wussiest, most ridiculous injuries, I think, of any other sport. I mean, there have been guys that have hurt muscles sneezing, falling downstairs. I mean, it's craziness. And now stepping on a cactus.
It's just proof positive that he's just a prick. Reminder that this and every...
Takes one to know.
Oh, wow. Reminder that this and every broadcast is brought to you by CG Imaging. That's cg-imaging.com, cg-imaging.com, virtually creating reality. If you want to take part in the broadcast, the number is 585-633-7487. Once again, 585-633-7487. Feel free to join the discussion at any time. You can also email us at youguyssuck@87sportsfans.com and hit us up on Twitter. The call sign, the handle is at 87sportsfans. Okay, we did all the business, Steven. So let's talk about other people's business. Namely,
that's what we're good at.
Yeah, namely the New York Knicks. Oh, the Knicks. We've beat on them. We've analyzed them. We've skewered them as much as probably anybody possibly can. Well, I don't think there's really much more you can interpret. And I wrote a post on 87sportsfans.com about just how lost the Knicks have been playing, even though they went on a little mini winning streak. And it's funny that you can be 25-40 and still be knocking on the door of the playoffs. They're the 10 seed right now in the East at 25-40. But don't worry, Knicks fans. If you are feeling despair, if you are questioning why you follow your team, why you are so faithful and so committed, if you're wondering just when the sun is going to come up on your franchise once again, there is no need to worry because Phil Jackson is on his way, apparently. Phil Jackson, and I will read off Chris Broussard's piece on for ESPN, the magazine, that Phil Jackson and the New York Knicks are expected to finalize a deal that will give the legendary coach control of the club's front office by the end of this week, according to a league source. Everything is pretty much done. There's just some little things here or there to work out. Okay, so I've heard in the media today about $15 million a year to do this gig. So good for him. But God, if you're Phil Jackson, you walk into this organization, which has been pretty much dysfunctional since the Isaiah Thomas era, if you want to call it that.
Which that was a mess.
Yeah, but they never really recovered. I mean, there was pockets of success here or there, but I mean, what do we call success? A winning season? But nothing really that would make you think that the organization has a clear vision, a clear direction. So Phil Jackson taking over in March. I mean, obviously this season is done and paid for. Where would you start if you're Phil Jackson?
Well, the thing is this is his, if I'm not mistaken, this is his first time doing this job.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still unknown how his success he had as a coach will transition into this position. So he may not be the savior for the Knicks unless he's on the sideline coaching the team. You never know. I mean, people says his philosophies or whatnot. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of an impact he can have on this team, because you look at someone like Larry Bird that has this position, but he coached the Pacers for 2 years before he stepped into that position. So he kind of was assimilated into the franchise, where Phil Jackson, like you said, is walking into a nightmare. He's got players that don't want to play. Got a overpaid superstar in Carmelo Anthony, who already has said he's going to waive his his last couple of years and go into free agency. He's walking into a situation that this season, yeah, they still might make season because the Eastern Conference is a joke. You have two teams in Indiana and Miami at this point in the season already have locked in places in the playoffs with almost 20 games left to go, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's insane to even say that. But you have a team that could possibly make the playoffs. Who knows if they'll do anything. But after this season, you got to expect Carmelo Anthony is going to be gone, and I don't see Phil Jackson really doing anything to keep him because I think Phil sees the kind of player Carmelo is. Even though he's talented, he's not the kind of guy that's going to be that Jordan or Kobe leader that Phil had on both his other teams. So now you got to wonder, obviously the coach is going to be gone. Woodson's going to be gone. But now what else is going to be gone? Stoudemire potentially? It's going to be a full rebuild. And I'm wondering, are Knicks fans going to be ready for that? Because it's going to be a wholesale change similar to what Boston did this past offseason. It's going to be Phil going in. He's going to clean house. He's going to bring in the people he thinks are right. And, as bad as this season has been for New York, I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better. If Phil does it the right way, which I think he will because he's not a stupid man.
The only way
to me, it's going to be interesting to see.
The only way that Amari leaves the Knicks is if they just cut him, which won't give them any salary cap relief because they won't. Nobody's going to trade for him. The only way that he gets out is if they, if he does them a favor and uses the early termination option. He's due $23.4 million next year.
Yeah.
He's due more than Carmelo. Melo's actually under contract, but Melo has the early termination option. So you got Amari Stoudemire and Carmelo Anthony, who are not complete players. They do well. I don't even know what Amari does really well anymore. We know what Carmelo.
He's shot
$23 million. Okay. Carmelo Anthony, another $23 million. Tyson Chandler is due $14.5 million. Bargnani is due $11.5 million. He's got an early term option as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got those four guys taking up 46, 60, $71 million of your payroll. $71 million of your $90 million in payroll next year. Right now, again, assuming that everyone comes back next year, is taken up by those four less than stellar individuals.
Yeah. I mean, out of all of them, Chandler would be the only one that I could see maybe building a team around. And he's even kind of long in the tooth. This is his season, so or 12th or 13th, one and two.
He's old, and he's a defensive center. He's not an offensive center.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not. I don't even think you could call him balanced. You know what I mean? He's there for defense, and whatever points you get out of him, he's there for defense and rebounding.
Yeah, but what I'm saying about building a team around him, if you're going to build a team from the ground up, you're going to need to start with somebody that will be happy with just playing defense and rebounding.
Yeah, you were right on. There is nobody on this team
that
you can build a franchise around. Tim Hardaway Jr., have you seen enough out of Tim Hardaway Jr. this year to think that maybe he's going to be the next leader? No,
he won't be the next leader, but he's somebody that either you keep and bring someone in that can teach him, or he might have enough value at this point where they could potentially get something for him. Something substantial. Not crazy substantial, but at least something decent. But honestly, and I'm going to say this, and I know this is going to hurt to hear this, after the ridiculousness, and to me, I think one of the worst trades, and I can't even remember how long, if a team is willing to do what the Lakers did with Steve Nash, Stoudemire getting traded to a team is not, in my opinion, out of the realm of possibility because there have been worse trades. It could happen. There could be one of these crazy teams fighting for a playoff spot that thinks that if they had him, he could be the last cog in the machine or something. You know what I mean? There's always that chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I agree with you. It's going to be a very very far-fetched scenario, but could happen. You never know.
His player efficiency rate is at 18.1. So with that stat, the average is always 15.
Yeah.
So he's slightly above average. Career though, he's a 22. So he's not, obviously, we're beating a dead horse here. He's not what he used to be.
No.
He can't be a power forward really anymore. He's got to be a center. He doesn't have the mobility anymore.
He reminds me a lot of what the Knicks did when they brought Larry Johnson on the team. And they brought him in, and he just was riddled with injuries, and his skills went down. And then for 4 or 5 years after he stopped playing, the Knicks were paying him double-digit million a year for nothing. So Stoudemire, he seems like he's another one of those wonderful Knick trades that turns into the biggest flop.
There's just, you watch the Knicks, and there's no real sense of cohesion. The really great teams, you know where the ball is going. You know where the offense is going through. Even if Kobe was healthy, even a bad team like the Lakers, you would know where the ball was going to. You know, with the Knicks, you know it goes to Carmelo, but then you also know it's not going anywhere else. More often than not, because he's not going to pass.
Yeah. And if he does and it gets into J.R. Smith's hands, it's definitely not going anywhere else.
It reminds me of, did you watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in the day?
Of course I did.
Remember the basketball episode?
Of course I did.
Where every play was give it to Will at the end?
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think the Knicks playbook is like. But
and it's funny to me because the Knicks are held in such high esteem. The last time they won a title was 72-73, was that season. Was the last time the Knicks... the Washington Bullets and the Seattle Supersonics have won titles since the Knicks have. So I know it's New York, I know it's the Garden, but just this level of mystique for a team that hasn't won in 40 years. It still blows my mind. Every time they're brought up into this big discussion, the Knicks, what are the Knicks going to do? And the Knicks haven't been since before you and I were born. They had some great games and great series against the Bulls in the playoffs during the 90s with Patrick Ewing and Starks. But really, have they? I've never, even during that time, I did not look at them and say, "Wow, that is a championship team."
Right.
The closest they got was getting thumped by Houston and thumped by the Spurs, and that was 2 times in the 90s. But other than that, since 2000, they've been definitely nothing. And it still blows my mind that they're looked at so highly. That's just me.
Well, but so going back to the question, if you're Phil Jackson, first thing you do is you fire the coach.
But here's the thing: do you fire him now and bring in somebody to just deal with the garbage the rest of the season, or do you wait till the season's done, wholesale clean, get rid of everyone, get rid of the coach, get rid of the players that you want to get rid of, and just bring in a whole new staff?
Well,
and which would you think would be better for the team?
Normally, I would say stability is good, but because the Knicks have been so bad, and everyone knows that with the change in the front office, whoever it was, whether it's Phil Jackson, whether it was whoever takes that position is going to want to put their guy. You know what I mean? They're going to want their coach. If they're going to be on the hook for the outcome. So as soon as Phil Jackson's hired, Mike Woodson's a dead man walking. So you might as well, just out of professional courtesy, if he's not your guy, which we all pretty much know, but no one knows what Phil's thinking. But if you know that Mike Woodson is not your guy, then you might as well just let him go now and let him go enjoy his spring and summer. Let him spend Easter with his family, and then just have somebody else mind the rudderless ship until you can focus on next season. Even if you make the playoffs, you're 25-40. You're not going anywhere. I'm sorry.
No. We've discussed this. There are 2 teams in the East. One of the 2 between the Heat or the Pacers. One of those 2 is going to the finals. It's just the way it is. Mm-hmm.
There's
So,
notwithstanding some kind of historic upset, it's going to be one of those two.
yeah, I mean, the Bulls are making a little run right now, and everyone's focused on Jakeem Noah, who has been playing very well this year, but
You got to give
they're gonna putter out.
You got to give the Bulls credit doing all this without Derrick Rose.
Yeah,
35 and 20.
and honestly, it is eye-opening. That it should be eye-opening to the Bulls because, and here's the funny part: you have Noah and Derrick Rose, who Derrick Rose likes to have the ball, likes to shoot. He does pass well, but the man likes to have the ball. And you have both of them trying to bring Carmelo to the team.
Yeah.
The second Carmelo Anthony steps on the Bulls, Derrick Rose is gone. That's in my opinion. If that ever happened, Derrick Rose, he's on the next train out of Chicago. So it's funny to me that he said he would be willing to take part of the Carmelo Anthony talks. Obviously, his agent and whoever his advisors are not smart enough to say to him, shut up. If he comes on the team, you're never going to have the ball, and with your injuries, you're gone. So I just find that funny.
Well, it's because like my impression of Derrick Rose is that he's not really assist oriented. He's not an assist oriented point guard. You know what I mean? You have your scoring point guards like the Darren Williams and everything like that, and then you have your pass first point guards like I don't want to say Magic was. I mean, he was an assist machine, but he could score if he needed to.
You said Chris Paul.
Yeah, but like
he's an assist first, but he does score.
2010, 2011, his last full season, he averaged 7.4 assists a game. I don't think that qualifies you as a pass first. Get people involved.
That barely qualifies you as a point guard.
Yeah, he plays downhill on roller skates like a bull in a china shop, and that's inevitably what I think. What that style of play is what created the injury problem with him. So I would agree. If there's another ball hog coming, another scorer, unless he can pull up and be a different Derrick Rose, and maybe with the injuries, he realizes he has to be. I don't know.
See, that's the problem, though, is he's a young athlete. He's a young athlete where everyone's telling him he's the best and he's great. And unfortunately, these guys don't think that way anymore. It takes them to get to the end of their careers to where they're like, wow, I better do something.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's all about the money and the prestige, which if he steps back for Carmelo, you can only assume that there's going to be a loss of endorsements of some kind because he's not the number one guy. So that goes a long way to get you a lot of notoriety.
Looking at percent of field goal attempts for Derrick Rose by distance, 85% of his field goal attempts were of his 2-point field goal attempts were. I'm sorry, 85% were two-pointers. I'm reading this wrong. 31% came within 0 to 3 feet of the hoop.
Yeah,
a third. He likes to get to the hoop. He can put it on the floor. He had the explosiveness before to be able to do that and create problems for defenders. I just with his knees that might be gone.
Yeah, he's really the NBA equivalent of RG3. Yeah. Something he was able to do growing up and in college when he got to the professional level. It just is not. You can't play the way that he plays. You can't just put your head down and you're never going to last.
And he's 25 years old.
And I don't care what my brother or anyone says. There's a lot of ticky-tack fouls and whatnot in the NBA, but it is still a very physical game.
Oh,
so you can't be a guy his size and not expect to get beat up.
Especially if you're coming, you know what I mean? It's one thing if you're a center and you back people down and everything like that, you can. But if you're putting the ball on the floor and you have to drive through the lane and sidestep all these knees and ankles and everything like that, it's only if you've got weak knees or weak ankles, you're going to keep injuring yourself.
Yeah, and not only that, a lot of his shots that he did make, he was elevated, got knocked to the floor. I mean, how many times can you get knocked to the court before it takes its toll on you?
Right. That's
3 seasons. I guess that's the answer to that.
yeah. So, but here's the thing. I mean, here's how this will work. If Derrick Rose can pull himself back and become the initiator, the assist machine, then you need somebody to take that scoring load that you aren't going to get from what used to be Derrick Rose.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing, though. I mean, I remember Rose in college, too. He never was an assist guy. And I don't think you can just make that transition. I don't think it's as easy as just saying, well, I guess I have to pass it now. You know, I don't think he has those instincts. He has the scorer's mentality. So to tell him, well, you just got to, you got to start passing it. I don't know if he's going to have the ability to do that. He's a scorer.
It remains to be seen.
I mean, he might have to move to a 2-guard position.
That could get interesting too, because right now it's Jimmy Butler, he plays a decent game.
Yeah.
But I don't think you would say that if Derrick Rose was trying to convert to a 2-guard, you wouldn't say, no, we can't do that. We got Jimmy Butler there.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to say that, though.
I don't think anybody, no.
Because, I mean, the one thing he has going for him is Dwayne Wade has proven that you could have 0 knees and still make a difference at that 2-guard spot. Because, I mean, they're in the same boat now. And he's, it's you're going to take less drives. You're going to have to be on the perimeter more. But if that's what it takes, extend his career another 5 years or so.
And the bottom line is neither one of us really cares because he's on our crap list for the rest of his career.
Oh, absolutely.
Just one of those things, Derek.
It's just interesting to speculate.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Kobe and Magic taking shots at the Lakers front office. We'll get into that a little bit. You're listening to 87 Live on 87 Sports Fans Radio.
Different time zones, baby.
87 Live on 87 Sports Fans Radio. Keith Grieve and Steve Taylor here, taking you through the second segment. If you missed the first segment, it will be available on demand whenever you want at 87sportsfans.com. You could also just find us on iTunes, 87 Sports Fans Radio, and subscribe so that it gets automatically downloaded to your digital device in iTunes. First segment talked about the Knicks and Phil Jackson, and it kind of bled into the Bulls and Derrick Rose, and ended with our disdain for Mr. Rose. The phone number
got a little off topic.
That's all right. It happens. It happens.
That's usually the best part of our show.
We should change it to ADD Radio. Or, I'm sorry, ADHD Radio. 585-633-7487 if you want to join the discussion. Once again, 585-633-7487. Or you can email us at youguyssuck@87sportsfans.com. And also the Twitter handle at 87sportsfans. So, I don't make any secret to anybody, that I'm a Laker fan. I bleed purple and gold. And I also don't make any secret that I really, really have big questions about where this franchise is going. And apparently I'm not the only one. Apparently I'm joined by the likes of one Kobe Bean Bryant, who it was announced today that he would not play again the rest of the regular season, and quite frankly, no one should be shocked by that. I mean, why would you? A guy that rehabbed his Achilles tendon so furiously fast to get ready for to try to make it back this season, and then ended up with a knee injury, and then this absolute abortion of a season. Why would you push a 30-plus-year-old superstar back and try to make him play? It just doesn't make any sense, especially since there's absolutely nothing to play for. No light on the horizon. So they have a press conference today, and according to Chris Broussard, I'm sorry, this is from Dave McMenamin from ESPNLA.com. Kobe has some very specific opinions about where the team is going. McMenamin reports that Bryant said, quote, "I think we have to start at the top in terms of the culture of our team. What kind of culture do we want to have? What kind of system do we want to have? How do we want to play?" It starts there, and from there, and you could start building out your team accordingly. And so he was asked to clarify what the top meant, and so then he starts calling out the Bus family. He said, quote, "You got to start with Jim. You got to start with Jim and Jeannie and how that relationship plays out. It starts there and having a clear direction and clear authority. And then it goes down to the coaching staff and what Mike D'Antoni is going to do and what they're going to do with Mike, and it goes from there. It's got to start at the top," end quote. So it's pretty clear that while Bryant has been sitting on the bench, that his stomach has been in knots. And then Magic Johnson chimes in with these tweets. "I love Jim and Jeannie Bus, but we need Phil Jackson to be the face of our great organization." And then he tweets later, "Kobe Bryant is the face of the Lakers team. Who's the face of the organization?" The next tweet, "In signing Phil Jackson, owner Jim Joel and Steve Mills are saying to the Knicks fans, they're ready to win now." And then he says, "I'm going to stop complaining." But he's not complaining. He's pointing out facts.
Yeah, he really was.
And the both of them are dead on. Because every decision since Phil Jackson has retired has been not only questionable, but head-scratching. Phil Jackson retires, and they hire Mike Brown. So Mike Brown gets a year to flounder, and then he gets, I think it was like 4 games the following season, and then they fire him on the spot, and they let the rifleman, Chuck Person, hold down the fort until D'Antoni's ready from whatever foot surgery he had. But even when they hired D'Antoni, people that knew this team and knew what was wrong, what was ailing this team, could not understand the move. Why? Because what the Lakers did really, really bad was play defense. And what is D'Antoni notoriously not on top of? Defense. It's been a bad fit from the get-go. And then you have the Andrew Bynum trade that lands Dwight Howard. And then he ends up running away to Houston, and the Lakers are left holding the bag with nothing in return. Nothing. And not that Andrew Bynum,
Yeah.
not that they should have held on to Andrew Bynum, but you had Dwight Howard, and you got nothing in return for him.
Well, actually, they also received, they're going to miss out on first round draft pick this year, which will potentially be a really high first round draft pick.
And absolutely wonderful point there. So
Yeah.
you sat back on your laurels and thought that Dwight Howard would be mesmerized by the LA spotlight. But what you neglect to notice was that Dwight Howard is a mental midget and was intimidated by Kobe and had no desire to play with him.
Yeah, I mean, it all boils down. I would even consider the Dwight Howard move a mistake because there were two bigger mistakes they made last year. And that was the aforementioned Steve Nash throwing all kinds of money at a guy that was beaten down and almost 40. And then picking D'Antoni over Phil Jackson. If they never got Steve Nash and they got a couple younger players, a couple solid younger players, and then they didn't get D'Antoni, they brought in Phil Jackson back. Even if he only coached part-time, most experts believe, and I 100% stick with this, if Phil Jackson was there, Dwight Howard not only would still be there, but he would be playing at the top of his game. And I'm not a Dwight Howard fan. I think he's just a very good athlete. But his physical talents would be a big help to the Lakers when he was playing at the top of his game. And so really it all boils down to me, the front office. Because those two moves are on the front office. And there were two of the worst, most damaging moves, I think, in any sport in the last decade at least. I mean, they took a proud franchise and with those two moves completely just devastated it. Right. It's sad. It's sad because I hate the Lakers, but I respect the Lakers.
They're paying the Fisher for all their salary wrangling in the past.
Derek's on Oklahoma City now.
Yeah, you look at the players that are counting towards their cap that aren't on their roster anymore. Okay, Ron Harper. $2.8 million still. Shammond Williams, $2.1 million. Karl Malone, $1.8 million still. Theo Ratliff, $884,000, the league minimum. Andrew Gaudelak. Brian Shaw is still on their payroll. He's coaching the Nuggets. He's still on their payroll. Horace Grant, Ira Newble, Jim Jackson, John Sally is still on the Lakers' payroll. Mitch Richmond and Joe Smith.
That's ridiculous. Most of those guys haven't played in a decade.
But it's constant reworking of contracts and pushing this off and pushing that off. And you know what? They didn't really have to worry about it. Now they have nothing. And they threw $48 million at Kobe Bryant for next year and the year after. They have 4 players under contract next year. Kobe Bryant at $23.5 million. Steve Nash at $9.7 million. Nick Young at $1.2. He has a player option for next year. This is assuming he comes back. And then Robert Sacra and Kendall Marshall, both at $915,000. Everybody else could be gone next year.
And I would honestly, at this point, take Steve Nash off that list because I don't think he'll be back next year.
He's got to be retiring. His body's just got his body is done.
Yeah,
he's physically done.
He's done. If he comes back, it's going to be another season of watching him sitting on the sidelines.
We trade Steve Blake for Kent Bazemore and Marshawn Brooks, none of whom have done anything to stand out. They'll be gone. They could be gone next year. I just don't understand. I don't understand why they gave all that money to Kobe. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm a Laker fan. Okay, I love the fact when Jerry West made that trade for Kobe Bryant, I danced in the streets because I knew what that would be with Shaquille O'Neal. I've loved Kobe Bryant I've never held anything against him, even that little mess in Denver, Colorado. I'm not going to bring it up. I don't want to talk about it. But I've always loved everything Kobe Bryant has done. I've loved his attitude, even when other people don't. They think he rubs them the wrong way. I've been Kobe's biggest fan. But $23.5 million for a guy that's coming off an Achilles injury in his mid-30s, Come on. How do you build a franchise going forward? You're not trading that salary. I don't know.
I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I mean, they need to do something with Jim Buss. He needs to step back from the team and bring in somebody to run it who knows what they're doing. Because he's not his father, no matter how much he wants to think he is.
You mean like Phil Jackson, possibly?
Well, that ship has sailed.
No, I know.
And that's the funny part. Is they're like Jim and Jeannie Buss. How much is Jeannie Buss really invested in the team if her fiance is now going to be based out of New York?
Right.
So you can't think that she's 100% invested in the Lakers.
Well, I don't question that.